We're back. More Rodeo Clown. This train ain't stopping. Right. Last time we talked to Gordon, aka the Hat Man, what else did we do? We went in the church and we talked to them, as well as there was a priest in the church who was passed out, so we couldn't talk to him. We talked to Logan, he's over there by the tank, and we looked at his fish and we got really sad about it. And so we're progressing. It might feel like we're progressing because there isn't really a motivator yet, but we're getting there. I'm taking you through a curated path that kind of shows you everything. So, since we're doing everything, let's go over here and look at the Tractor Museum. Before we do that, let's actually observe the building. Aurora Tractor Museum. As you can see, it is totally not open. Pity. But there's a tractor on it. A very faded tractor. Boarded up. Stuff. I really like this building. It's really hard to make like big blocky buildings with sort of this really large walls like this. It's hard to make them look like they fit in, especially with the textures, because you have to use tiling textures. You can't, like, you can see it's tiling. You can't use like a custom, like you would for like this sign. You can't use a custom texture like that. You have to use tiling textures, and so it's hard to sort of make it look nice without it just being one big blank wall. But I think I managed by kind of like with these sort of color variations in it. But like in real life, it's just like, because I was comparing it to real life pictures, and in real life, like you can have a shed or whatever you want to call it, and it's just one big blank wall, and it looks fine in real life. But if you copy it exactly and put it in a game, it just doesn't work, because for whatever reason, I guess because, you know, big walls, big blank walls, they just look empty when they're in a game. So you sort of got to detail it up, even if in real life it mightn't be that detailed. So what I mean by that is like adding these color variations, or adding whatever the hell these are, that, or like that vent, like they don't actually serve a purpose. They're just there. But, you know, what do they call them? Greeblies. So that's the Tractor Museum. Let's look at the sign. Sign of the times. Conversation title: District Line 2 by Square Pusher, off his album Ultra Visitor. That is a dense album. I don't know why I called this conversation District Line 2. I think it just fit like the metallic vibe I was going for, and also had to get one reference to London Underground. Tractor Museum, open every day. You turn to look at the museum in question. The doors and windows are boarded up haphazardly. The parking sign on the corrugated tin wall whispers to cars that no longer exist. Open every day except today, or tomorrow, or any day going forward. What a pity. What a pity, Mr. Bond. What goes on in a Tractor Museum? This makes me very sad, or I don't care. Let's get the context. There's two potential answers. Option 1, it houses old tractors that are of historical significance. This is the logical answer. Yes, give me the illogical answer. Option 2, it is a gateway to the underworld. You step through those doors, fall directly through a trapdoor, and down an impossibly long mine shaft. You plummet for an eternity, then you plummet a little longer. Up to the bottom. Tractor hell. It's hot metallic down there. You struggle to imagine what else a tractor hull might entail. Perhaps it's better to remain ignorant. Okay, enough context. How does this sign on the ground make you feel? I guess if you pick one of these two extremes, makes me sad. You weep for the loss of a local business, don't we all? Curious that this sign has remained here in the dirt. Maybe nobody wants to touch it. Might be like those dead mountaineers, frozen 10 steps from the summit. Best to leave them be. And why wouldn't you? To remain above ground, fully preserved, doing what you love for eternity. How beautiful. Beautiful. It's not a dead body. I guess in like a figurative sense. You find dead bodies beautiful. Yes, fuck off. Think before you speak? That doesn't really work. Think before you think. Better. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. True, whatever. Let's go back to looking at that tractor museum sign, please. I was really on something when I was writing this. You look down to the dirt. The sign is buried, implying it's been there for quite a while. How could this place close? It's like if Disneyland just decided to shut its gates one day. Who gave them the fucking right? Owner might have died. Oh no. Moolah. Dollaridoos. Australia mentioned, Australia mentioned. Haunted? Could be haunted. It's probably money. Capitalism killed the tractor museum. Welcome to modern America. The Dollaridoo reigns supreme. Pour out an imaginary beer for the museum. The imaginary liquid hits the dirt and splashes it onto your shoes. Motherfucker. Even your daydreams end in misfortune. That's pretty funny. Drag a shoe through the dead grass and deposit the droplets of beer back to the earth. That's called soil replenishment. So for some unknown reason, you decide to look up to the sky. Seemingly on cue, a crow flies into your field of view. If this were a movie or a TV show, that'd be a bad omen. Like when Chrissy got made. Des is watching. What a weird thing to throw in there, like when Chrissy got made. I think I was just like in the middle of watching The Sopranos when I wrote that, hence why it's there. But I guess it works. Go watch The Sopranos. Real life is not a movie. In that case, be thankful this crow has no significance at all. We're going to live forever. You begin to wonder what the crow did to get such a bad rap. It's just a bird. Why does it have to be death? Plenty of other shit could be death. What about mosquitoes? They deserve the hate. Same for wasps. They could be death. Man, fuck wasps. Oh yeah, brother. Did you know that some wasps will paralyze an insect and drag it back into their nest so that their future offspring can dine on the corpse? Some species even know what parts to eat last so that their food stays alive longer. Isn't nature marvelous? What the fuck? Not even a question mark, just what the fuck. Don't act so shocked. It's basically what humans do. We just outsource the whole brutal killing part to an abattoir. Wasp society hasn't progressed that far yet, so they gotta do it old school. This thought brings you one step closer to going vegetarian. One of these days you'll actually commit. I feel like we had this conversation last episode as well, about going vegan. Subliminal messaging, perhaps. I'm going to commit right now to going vegetarian. Alright, here's the deal. You've just made a promise, and if you break your promise, you have to throw yourself in a volcano. Deal. Now, where's the nearest volcano? Tell you something that sucks about living in Australia. There's no volcanoes. Literally none. They're all on like overseas territories, like in the bottom of the Indian Ocean or in Antarctica, but none on the mainland or in Tasmania. Could go to New Zealand, but well, maybe I will go to New Zealand. You don't know the answer to that. What you do know is that you've spent far too much time looking at this sign in the dirt. It's time to go. Let's go. There's to be someone in this town you haven't pestered yet. Well, speaking of the devil, that's exactly where I'm going next. So I'm intentionally leaving her last, the lady mowing her lawns, which she was the person who left the note in that mechanics building, which we can go look at again because that was like 2 episodes ago. Yes, what does the note say? Be back in a little while, I'm mowing my lawn. So yes, that was the lady over in that backyard. Alright, let's go in. Gas station. I'd use all my willpower and like strength to not call it a petrol station once. Because, spoiler alert, I'm not American, but this game is set in America, so you know, there's a bit of a... Some of the language doesn't come naturally to me. This is sugar, by the way. And all movie posters. Enemies of state, yep. That works for both of them. Hello, Mr. Chaplin. Hello, Miss Falconetti. Shrimp is not going to reply. Joan of Arc also has nothing to say. Yes, I want these posters. Why don't you go ask that guy laying on the front counter? Good chance he owns them. Genius. We will be doing that. Who? Is that a Weezer song? Yes, it's a Weezer song. Surfworks America. It's about riding a surfboard to work. You take your car to work, I'll take my board. That's a great song topic. Approach an impressively lanky man, currently in the process of drinking a bottle of water whilst lying on his back. There's an incessant buzzing noise emanating from the ceiling fans. After a few seconds, the man on the counter finally notices your presence. He sits the bottle down and pulls himself upright with a guttural groan. Oh, this is exciting. Why? No, it isn't. Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying. Something's in the air. We're on the same wavelength. Goodness. What's the name of that dude you gotta sync your sine waves with? Just release him in the tent. I forget. It's where Egghead is. Hold out his hand. Call me Sugar. Call me Des, or Desmond if you hate me. You direct your hand into his. The handshake that takes place is firm and beautiful. Des! Love it. What brings you into the shop, huh? Just looking. Ice cream? Alcohol? Or Jesse said, come and take a look. I like this one because, you know, it wouldn't be there if you hadn't talked to Jesse, so I feel like we're obligated to pick that one. Spoke to Jesse and Joss. They told me to say hi. What were they up to? Nothing illegal, I hope. I was smoking marijuana, a copious amount of marijuana. Hanging out. I'm not a snitch. Yeah, they're just hanging out. They seem bored out of their minds. My ugly mug was probably the most interesting thing they'd seen all week. Sugar bursts into laughter. That might have been the funniest thing he's heard ever. Love it. God, you're funny. You didn't think it was all that funny, but his reaction fills you with pride nevertheless. Sugar recollects himself, his face red from laughter. Alright. Goodness, thanks for that. He hits on the shoulder, then bursts into laughter again. You're starting to feel somewhat uncomfortable. Nobody's ever laughed this hard at a joke you've made. Is this what success feels like? I don't know if that's ever happened to anyone else, where like, you tell a joke, which you're not expecting laughter, you tell jokes even if you're not expecting laughter. And then everyone laughs at it and you're like, stop laughing. This isn't funny. That happens to me a lot. Because, you know, I'm just so funny, man. Oh, I'm sorry, really. He fumbles with a bottle of water in his hand, desperately trying to twist the cap off. Is he joking? God, every time I read this scene, I'm just thinking of that Always Sunny in Philadelphia scene where all of them were just watching Danny DeVito or Frank choke. And it cuts to Dennis's face and he's just staring at him like he's at a funeral or something. It's the funniest fucking thing ever. I'm gonna watch. You watch with bated breath as Sugar finally opens the water bottle and downs the whole thing. Sorry, laughing makes it hard for me to breathe sometimes. He takes multiple deep breaths and continues as if nothing had happened. Right, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, right, my kids. I wish they'd help me out here. Moving out isn't easy, you know. Kids these days. Funny how it's always kids these days, and people have been saying that since the dawn of time. Almost like it isn't kids these days. If you say something along those lines, by the way, like kids these days or this generation or some shit, please shut the fuck up. Like, not even respectfully. Disrespectfully shut the fuck up. Because I feel like I'm noticing a lot now because I'm like I'm an adult now, but like entering adulthood, you notice like a lot of people around you are starting to turn into like those people you hated as a child where like they I don't want to say boomers because boomers is a really dismissive term, but like those sort of that older generation who would look down on the younger generation because they were different. And it's just like an endless cycle. And it's like, Jesus Christ, people, have some self-awareness. This has been going on, like I said, since the dawn of time, and every time it's wrong. And the current like iteration of that is like all these, say like people in like their late teens, early 20s making fun of kids for like using like the skibbity and Riz and like Sigma and shit. And it's like, were you alive when you were a kid? Because we had some of the worst, most like awful slang and just nonsense words ever. It's not like we were any different. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. This just really pisses me off. Have some self-awareness, people. It's not kids these days, it's you. You're getting old. If you need an extra hand, I could help you. I have nowhere to be right now. No, well, actually, my wife Sally will be here in a little bit. There's some heavier stuff we need to lift into the back of the truck. You could help us with that when she gets here. Don't feel obligated though, just an idea. Hell yes, I love carrying stuff. I'd love to help. Great. He gives you the widest smile you're likely to see in your lifetime. Yeah, Sugar's a great character, or just a great person. Whether or not he's a good character is up for debate. I'm glad you came in to talk. Truth to be told, I was getting a little bored packing things up. Ooh, let's go straight for the movie posters. Are those film posters over there yours? Well, I guess they are. I didn't even know I owned the damn things. What? What do you mean? You didn't know you owned them? How does that work? I mean, I don't recall buying either of them. You'd be amazed at some of the stuff you find when you move out of a place. You want them? I feel like if I take them with me, they'll just end up in a cupboard somewhere again. Yes! Well, no, I probably shouldn't. Should I? Nah, they're yours. I've got enough old film posters in my house. What are you doing? Say you want them. I want them. They might be valuable if they're old. You keep them. Why? Why? What the fuck? Why can't I say I want them? Oh, well, if they're valuable. The wife would kill me if she found out I gave them away. She's a fiend for that collectible stuff. I'm gonna think of it. Maybe these are her posters. Yeah, I'll keep them just to be safe. You wanted them. You were so close. Mighty generous of you letting me keep them. Most people would jump at the chance to get some free stuff. Shh. Shh. You're a kind soul. Take only what you need. That's my motto. Motto. No, it fucking isn't. Take what you can, whenever, wherever, forever. That's not my motto. Correct. Only losers have mottos. Very true. Have you watched either of those films before? I know the Chaplin one, but I've never heard of Joan of Arc. Yep, both. Modern Times, like 50 times. Joan of Arc, only once. Not a film to watch with the family, unless you like being depressed as a collective. Thanks for the public service announcement. Well, that's useful information to have. I vaguely remember watching most of Chaplin's films as a kid. but a lot of it went over my head. Didn't they think he was a commie or something? Yeah, he was definitely a commie. I think they were right. If you watch his films as hindsight, you'll notice a lot of giveaways. Modern Times was pretty blatant with its anti-capitalist themes. Yeah. You sound like Jesse. He's real big on that, whatchamacallit, anti-capitalism. Yeah, I got that impression. I figured. Good for her, I say. Good for her. Yeah, his kids seem nothing like him. This dude's like your classic... God, I can't even think of an archetype for him. This game has no archetypes. Everyone is completely unique. I spoke to your kids. They're quite angsty. You, on the other hand, are the exact opposite. Too true, too true. They take after their mother mostly. My outlook on life never really interested them. What's his outlook? What sort of outlook is that? My comment's simple, but this gas station was a dream come true for me. I mean, living and working in the town you grew up in, what could be better? My kids, Jessie especially, don't really agree. Blame the internet. Simple is good. Small life is no fun. Yeah, I blame the internet. I think lots of young people feel the same way as Jesse. They're the first generation to grow up with the internet, you know? That's right. Doesn't bother me too much. Kids these days aren't just extensions of their parents anymore, and that's good. Most of the time, at least. I know I don't want my kids to end up exactly the same as me. Why not? I'm not sure. Just doesn't sit right with me. Maybe it feels a little selfish, you know? These kids aren't really kids anymore. I can give them advice, but they're old enough to make their own choices, form their own opinions. Holy shit, is this dude the best parent ever? He takes a sip from his bottle and then immediately changes the subject. What do you do for work, huh? Oh boy. Don't have to tell me, I'm just being nosy. Let's tell him. Used to work in an office doing accounting stuff. Nothing worth talking about, beyond the fact that I hated it with a passion. So I quit that job and vowed to sort my shit out. Currently in the process of doing so. That's what led me to Aurora, for better or for worse. Well, I gotta say, seems like you're doing pretty well for yourself. To recognise your problems and to make a commitment to fixing them is admirable. Can't say the same for most people, much as I'd like to. Yeah, it's not fixed, buddy. I've left out a great deal of detail that may make you see otherwise. Nothing in my life is sorted, not even close. I'm always one wrong turn from tumbling into the Grand Canyon. Well, we're all our own harshest critic, but we're also all liars, especially to ourselves. Don't believe every word you think, you'll be fine. He's right, you are a liar. Whether or not you'll be fine is another matter. Although, I'm by no means a licensed psychologist, so don't take everything I say as gospel. I just like to say reassuring things. It's basically the equivalent of ending your sentence with, I don't know though. Disregard everything he just said. You are not going to be alright. Everything you think is true. Every bad and unsavory thought you have is a reflection of who you truly are. We can talk about something else now. I don't think you came in here for a lecture on loving yourself. Actually did. 3. How long is this guest going to be here? I don't want to ask about his name because that feels like really... I don't know. I'll leave it to someone else to do that. This building seems pretty old. You know how long it's been here? Well, I've been here since the day I was born. Fairly certain my father bought it off Brian's father, say 60 years ago. Brian owned the mechanics with Lucia before he died a couple of months back. Just Lucia now. Smile disappears from his face. Ah, Lucia. I ought to catch up with her sometime today. It's awful being alone, especially at that age. Yes. Is it just her? No kids, no other family? Yep, just her. He pauses to think for a second. So, maybe you could go and talk to her. Not about anything specific, just chat and make her day slightly less empty. Oh yes. I might just do that. Great. Leave. I think I'd better be going now. Of course. Ought to be getting back to whatever I was doing anyway. See you later. He leaves Sugar to whatever it was he was doing and walked back to the front door. What a nice conversation we just had. Now, he told us to go talk to Lucia, who was the lady in the backyard over there. Her name was also on this little plaque over here. See? Lucia Shelley. So she was responsible for one of these. Which one? Well, I'll let you figure that out, but it's up in the air. Right, we're 30 minutes in. What else can I show you that I haven't shown you? Oh, right. When we did that sign way over there, it said 1 week at the end of it. We got told to go ask Ernest about it. I completely forgot about that. So let's go do that. Let's go talk to Ernest about the 1 week sign. Is he still here? Yeah, he's still here. Ernie. One week. What happens in 1 week, Ernest? What? 1 week. 1 week. Something is happening. What? Ernest ponders the question. Probably think it's a riddle or something. I don't... Oh, you're talking about the sign over by the fire station. 1 week. Yeah, so what's happening in 1 week? You know how long that sign's been sitting there? 1 week? Or is that too obvious? 3 months. And to answer your question, in case you hadn't figured it out yet, nothing happened in 1 week. Another day, another disappointment. When it got put there, it says something I can't remember. Nothing interesting, mind you, just your typical roadwork stuff. Where's the magic? This is not what I like to hear, not at all. Too bad. Why don't you go ask one of Sugar's kids about it? I have a feeling they're behind the whole thing. On it. I'll get to the bottom of this. Don't you fret, Ernie. Ernest. Don't push your luck. There's a weirdly recurring theme throughout this game. Is like names. So like, let's go into the characters. You've got Des, full name Desmond, but he prefers to be called Des. You've got Suzanne, who prefers to be called Susie. You've got Ken, or Kenneth, who prefers to be called Ken. You've got Ernest, don't call him Ernie. You've got Josiah, but only call him Joss. I don't know why I was like so... Oh, and you've got Sugar, who obviously that's not his actual name, but you call him Sugar. It's such a weirdly recurring theme that I don't know why is in the game. I guess it's just a thing of like, names are whatever you want them to be. If someone asks you to call them a specific name, you call them a specific name. You don't make a fuss about it. Wow, that's really deep meaning there. Alright, let's go talk to Ernest, or Sugar's kids, Jesse and Josiah. Cool hat. What's going on out here? I'm going to go in there after I've talked to the kids because there is something interesting in there. Something very interesting. Children. Youth crime wave. We're back. Oh shit, we've got a bloody lot of new synth here. Yeah, we met their dad. Spoke to your dad earlier. Nice guy. Jessie raises her eyebrow. And what exactly did you talk about him? Yeah, we talked about her. You know, your father would appreciate it if you would help him pack up the store. You too, Josiah. Ooh. We've been helping him pack up for the last 2 weeks. Everything is basically done. You just want someone to talk to. Seems like you already helped him with that. Don't be assuming shit, man. Yeah, man. Anyway, what did you think of my father? 2 nights. He was cool. He definitely laughed at your unfunny joke. Yeah, maybe too nice. Too nice. I mean, he was nice enough. Maybe too nice if I'm being honest. Made me feel uncomfortable. Right? I guess the plus side is he's not putting on an act. Sure, I can be ignorant, and maybe a little She hasn't finished the sentence. Lots of people as nice as him are actually just awful people when no one is looking. Yeah, that's very cynical. What? Being nice means you're awful? Well, it's really just most people in general. Those pretending to be nice to stand out more. Are you as cynical as her? Depends on what day it is a week. No, yeah, people fucking suck, or no, I love everyone. What day of the week is this? It's Friday. I pick one of these two extremes. People fucking suck. That includes you. No, it doesn't. You're the bottom of the barrel. If you don't suck, who does? Hey, why'd you stop talking? Yeah, it happens. Sorry, chemical reactions in my brain. Okay. 1 week. So, 1 week, hey? Jesse smiles. That's right, 1 week. Do what? Spill the beans. Nope, not a chance. Pretty please. Don't be like that. I'm cool. We're cool. Nobody's cool anymore. And you, doubly so. Here's a breadcrumb. This sign, is like my bike, an art piece. That tree covered in tyres, also an art piece. I've been busy this summer. I'm leaving my mark on the world. Tyre tree? That tree on the corner is your doing. You see a tyre in an odd place, that was me. Wasn't easy, I'll tell you that much. You don't want to know how long it took me to get those tyres on the flagpoles over by City Hall. The children are running amok in a where are the police? Yeah, it really is a youth crime wave. The cat on top of Ron's flagpole was me as well. But we're talking about my roadwork sign right now. It's my real masterpiece. If you want to know why I wrote Jesse to be such like an art freak, or like modern art enjoyer, it was so I could put random shit all over the town and just write it off as like an art piece. Because it lets me make stuff look weird, but it also offers like a plausible explanation for why it's weird. So like, why the hell is there a tree covered in tyres? Jesse did it. Why is there a sign that says 1 week? Jesse did it. Why is there a bloody traffic cone on the roof of a shed? Jesse did it. But it's also just funny, you know. It's realistic. If you've ever been to like these small derelict towns in the middle of nowhere, especially like in sort of like post-industry areas where like maybe there was like an old mine that's now closed. This is relevant to Australia, but notice it's just derelict and like the former glory. Well, obviously it's former, so it's just a husk of its former self, and it's just shit everywhere. There's people don't look after it because everyone who does live there is like either too old to like look after it, or they're dead. And that's very sad. And that's basically what Aurora is. Just a town on its last legs, barely existing. It's in the death spiral. Yeah, very subversive. You're pretty good at this. That sign was gripping. Seriously, I stood there looking at it for a good 5 minutes. I didn't consider for a moment that it was an art piece. Oh shit, thanks. She thought you were going to hate it. Don't ever give me approval. It will go to my head. I don't need that. Words to live by. The sign sucks. In that case, your little art piece is derivative trash. The only thing I felt while staring at it, was disgust. Disgust, a complete lack of imagination. Do better. There we go. You've got a knack for shitting on art. You should be a critic. What sort though? Oh. Music critic, film critic, game critic, every sort. I would make me personally, the author, would make a terrible game critic, because all my criticism would just boil down to this story sucks. Wow, I probably shouldn't be like shitting on other people's stories as an author, but I just can't help myself. I'm going to complain, bear with me, that obviously I'm coming from a perspective of someone whose primary focus when making games is the narrative, and if the narrative is not my primary focus, then I am not making games anymore. I'll go do something else. But in like largest budget games, the narratives, man, they just oh. And I understand like when you have a huge budget, there's just like there's like an obligation that you have to do everything. You can't focus on one area too much because then the other areas will wither or something. But I feel like even with that philosophy, they still ignore narrative so much. And even games that are heavily narrative focused, like I'm gonna drag Red Dead Redemption 2 in here, maybe shit on it a little. It was clear that the narrative in that game was straight up just not finished. Like it was finished in like it had a start, middle, and end, but like it was so unpolished in so many areas. So like, if you disagree with me on this, that's fine. This is just a tangent. I haven't like thought about what I'm about to say incredibly deeply, but so much of that game, there was just so much effort put into so much areas. Like the animation system is like some of the best you'll ever see in any game. The ragdolls are insane, and just the general like level of interactivity and stuff that happens. But when you want to like hammer in on the narrative, even though there's so much of it, I feel like they sort of compromised a lot because I don't know. I guess I'm going to cut this short because I'm probably not using a good example here, because Red Dead 2 was in development for like 7 years, and I think adding another 2 years or however long it would take to make the narrative more cohesive, I mean, that's just ridiculous. You can't work on a game for 9 years. So Rockstar, if you're listening to this, maybe just chill out with all the other stuff and start releasing games more often, please. Pretty please. I would be a game critic. I'd be a game critic and I'd be so fucking woke. You better believe I'm calling out all the negative gender and race stereotypes popular games perpetuate. What else? Oh, user-generated content is objectively unpaid labor. Yes, it is. It's bad when a company spends almost $100 billion to buy their competition while firing thousands of workers without repercussion. Fuck me, this industry sucks. I changed my mind. I want nothing to do with it. Let's break that down. User-generated content is objectively unpaid labor. Yup. As an example, sorry, behold, I'm about to spew out my manifesto here. Halo Infinite. I mean, everyone knows about Halo Infinite and how it was fucking rough and barely finished. And if you go look at the multiplayer content for that game, I'd say most of the new maps in the multiplayer portion of the game are user generated. And you might ask, or you might like say, well, they weren't forced to make them. They just like making maps. But if you're not compensated for the amount of profit those maps generated, because Halo Infinite has a item store and you better believe people are buying that shit. When the majority, or at least a lot of the content in your multiplayer portion of your game is generated by users, I feel like they should be compensated for that, because really, you as the developers, while you maintain the game, you didn't actually make that content. You just provided the tools to make that content. And for example, say like Valve are an awful company in a lot of ways, especially with like Counter-Strike. But they actually pay the people who make the maps to like put them in the game. They pay, so like that new Anubis map, they paid the creator a lot of money so that they could put that map in the game. And I think that is realistic. That's fair. And they didn't have to do that, because I'm assuming there's some bullshit in there, and user license agreement or whatever you want to call it, because it was made in like Source 2 software that technically Valve owns it. But that's just it's a tough conversation, but I am very strongly on the side of you should be compensated for something that generates profit for another company. If you make it for free and they're profiting off it, you're being screwed over. And also there's the other part of this, which is, I don't need to explain what I'm alluding to here, but this industry, man, it's a bad place to be right now. And I'm just a little indie dev. I work by myself, so I technically can't be fired, but like, I would never want to work for a company in this industry, because I mean, the chances of you getting fired are pretty good. And then that company goes on to continue releasing games and continue to make profit. And, well, zero repercussions, as we say. They call it a strategic restructuring, as if it isn't just we want to make more profit, so we're going to screw over all these people, thousands of people. We're going to like retract their income, and so they're like scrambling to put their life back together while we continue to make stupid amounts of money. Alright, manifesto concluded. You'll be shocked to discover that almost all artistic mediums have the potential to generate profit will inevitably end up sucking one way or another. I wonder why. I don't entirely agree with that, because while I've just shat on like the profiteering and stuff of like bigger games, indie games exist, and there is more indie games than you can ever play in one lifetime. And I bet you there is more indie games that would like, you could play an indie game every single day for the rest of your life, and I guarantee you some of those will be the best game you've ever played. So if you're missing out on indie games, please don't miss out on indie games, because oh my god, there's a whole world out there waiting to be discovered. Life's greatest mystery: why money bad? Alright, let's conclude our Karl Marx fanboyism. Why'd they follow you into the church? Did you guys follow me into the church earlier? Yeah? Why? Kind of weird. Is it? You're a guy talking to children on the street. You just got brutalized. Stop talking. Yes, stop talking. I'm going now. Bye. Okay. "45 minutes. What can we do in that time?" I said I was going to talk to Lucia over there, but I'm going to do that next episode, because that is a really long conversation. So let's go. Do something more funny. Humorous, you might say. "Stealing People's Mail." Great song by the Dead Kennedys. You walk up to a door. It's the only door along this row of storefronts that hasn't been boarded up. Looking into the windows, you see nothing but darkness, probably covered up from the inside. I'm going through this door. You really shouldn't just barge through every potentially openable door. That's how you get shot. We're in Texas, remember? Everyone and their mum is packing around here. And also mums are packing. And farmers' mums. It's a shop, not a house. Or a shop, it sure doesn't look very welcoming. What could they be selling? Judging by the blacked out windows, something unsavory. Yeah, I'm going. Push on the door, it does not move. See, you're not supposed to be on there. Again, you place both your hands on the door and push as hard as you can. The door moves ever so slightly. There's something heavy blocking it. You lean your shoulder against the door and plant your feet, then shove with all your weight. After a few attempts, the door is open just enough for you to slip through. In we go. Oh, did we just like enter everybody new dimension? This is exciting. Tech. Great name for a song. Sloppy, in brackets, I saw my baby get. That's the first time I've mentioned Devo, or at least that debut album of theirs. might say that's also a heavy influence on this game. Just that, I don't know, it's such an odd album. Produced by Brian Eno, of all people. What a beast. Yes, if you haven't listened to Devo's debut album, question, are we not men? Answer, we are Devo. Then you should go listen to it. Alright, you find yourself in an empty room. Looks to be mid-renovation, judging by the dust encasing everything. It looks to be mid-renovation, but judging by the dust encasing everything, no one has been here for quite some time. In the centre of the room is a blank canvas, and beside that a makeshift table containing an assortment of painting paraphernalia. Painting! It's as if this canvas was placed here specifically for you. Go ahead, make some art, express yourself. Oh yeah, I'm about to regurgitate my feelings all over this canvas. Sure. Take the brush from the table and hold it up to the light. The bristles simmer as the photons bounce off their slender bodies. It's a beautiful sight, so beautiful that you begin to feel a little sad knowing you're about to drown them all in pain. Fuck 'em. Your creative expression is more important. Looking down at the tubes of paint laid out on the table, you come to realise it's all brand new. Not a single one has been opened. Don't think about it, just paint. This does feel like a trap. A trap for what? Depressed losers who break into abandoned buildings? You've already done the bad part. What harm could a little painting do? Oh man. You grab the red paint tube and twist the cap off. Oh, hang on. You're getting ahead of yourself. You need to decide on what you're painting first. I want to paint feelings. How do I paint feelings? Before the how, you need to know the what. Which feeling are you painting? This is important. 4. Joy. Boring. Only hacks and frauds make art about happiness. Pick a real emotion. Can you think of some art that is about being happy? That's a very hard question to answer. Let's do melancholy. Great, melancholy is so you. Now how do we convert that into a piece of art? You spend a great deal of time thinking. More time than anyone has ever spent thinking about anything. Self-portrait. Here we go. Yes. You'll have to use a lot of blue for this one. Like Joni Mitchell blue. Grab the blue tube of paint and add it to your palette. Art. Your heart takes over and your hands begin working. You don't even need a mirror. You know exactly what you're doing. You lower the brush into the paint and begin working. For once in your life, your mind is silent. Colour fills the canvas little by little. Your soul feels at peace. Time passes. The portrait is finished. You take a step back to get a better look at the final product. Here we go. I love that picture so much. It's so painted by yours truly. Obviously, I wasn't trying to. Well, actually, no. I cannot paint or draw or art or 2D art to save my life. So I made Desmond, and it was, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I intentionally made the art very sloppy, and Desmond very bad at it, because that would allow me to just paint what I wanted without like having to ask someone else to do it for me. And that's more interesting, because it would be very unrealistic for this random dude with zero self-esteem who just, works in accounting to be good at painting, wouldn't it? So he's just painting the raw emotions, and his raw emotions are guy with a bowl cut was kind of crying, and there's a really, really like long nose. What? That is not you. Looks nothing like you. It's like a horse or a 10th century serf. Yeah, that's what I was going for. The bowl cut. It's not about how I look, it's about how I feel. Fuck, it does. Ever heard of abstract art? It's about how I feel. Come on. Well, that begs the question. Do you feel like a serf? Hey, maybe you do, but in a sort of figurative sense. There's a critique of capitalism hiding in there somewhere. Right, this episode is really heavy on the capitalist stuff, isn't it? This painting was supposed to represent melancholy, not a critique of anything. It represents the sadness one feels whilst being subjected to the horrors of the free market. Remember how you felt when you learned they cancel freaks and geeks? Oh, never forget. I don't even think I was alive when they cancelled Freaks and Geeks. But like, you see the first season, you're like, oh, this is amazing, and then you find out there's no second season, and you're like, and then you cry for the next 3 days. That's how it goes sometimes. Oh, indeed. But that doesn't change the fact that the portrait still looks like shit. Oh, you only painted half your face. That's all I needed to convey the emotion. Art is subjective, shut the fuck up. Oh, what's wrong? Can't take a tiny amount of criticism from your brain? No, I can't. I thought this would be a meditative exercise where I'd come out the other side feeling accomplished and cleansed of all negativity. I can take criticism, but only from real people. I'm literally arguing with myself right now and there's no point to any of it. Yeah, I thought this would be fun. Instead you feel like you always do. Shit. Guess the artist thing isn't for you. Your mood drops even further. Another career in the can. Get out of here. Stop looking at the portrait. Go do something else right now. You tear your eyes away from the abomination of a self-portrait. But as you walk toward the door, some higher power compels your body to spin around and get a final look. It's crying. It wants to die. It yearns for the bonfire. It's not real. It's not real. It can't feel. It's not real. Finally, you manage to wrap your hand around the door handle. Pull it open, shimmy through the gap, and slam it shut. Jesus. Really need to get out of there real quick, didn't we? Alright, we're approaching an hour, and I'm actually going to finish the episode early this time because last episode was an hour and 20 minutes long, and that was too long. So that was... I don't know how to describe that. Apologies for the whole rant about capitalism and user-generated content. Yeah, I have opinions. I have opinions on stuff, yeah. So, next time we'll talk to Lucia behind that shed and the story will start to formulate. And there will be new motivators and stuff and twists and But until then, have a lovely evening, morning, day, 2 a.m, I don't know, whatever time zone you're in. Time zones suck. Goodbye.